Hello, 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 good people, and welcome to Happy Healthy Whole with Sharea. I'm Sharea, and this is Mental Health Awareness Month. So I'm going to focus on our mental health and our well-being. If you haven't already, check out our previous videos on the difference between mental health and mental illness that I did earlier in the year. However, today or this month, I'm going to focus really on getting us to understand the importance of caring and healing and dealing with our own mental health as we are no longer accepting the stigma that something has to be wrong with you in order to get help or support that you need. And so, that being said, let's get started with the first week. If you give me just a second, let's get started with the first week, which is really going to focus on why mental health still matters now. So, in a lot of ways, I've already kind of mentioned that first statement, which is that we're going to stop considering a it a stigma and or we're going to stop pretending like we don't know that it's a stigma when people ask for help in our communities, especially with Black and brown communities. We assign such heavy loads of lifting and being resilient and strong on the individual that we sometimes forget that they're human. And so, again, beautiful people, if you haven't already, like and subscribe to this channel. I try to do a video on emotional wellness at least every Monday, and it drops around 12 o'clock. And then on Thursdays, I also do something related to a private practice and developing and building your practice. So why does mental health still matter? Mental health still matters because our healing always matters. This month, we're going to dive into understanding nurturing, celebrating, and developing a healthy well-being and how that reinforces our mental health in a way that is about improving not just ourselves but community. So especially in our community, this has become a topic that we're more likely to talk about now than we've ever before, and that's exciting because it allows people to see that they are human even within their Black and brown bodies, and even within that humanity of resilience and strength that people sometimes will put on us. We are still having to do the things to take care of ourselves to make sure that our mental health is taken care of. So let's be real, mental health is still sort of talked about like as this overlapping thing of something's wrong with you. And so really, if we just look at it from that perspective, it can become exhausting and or it can be something that we are very, very private about and don't want to share with others that we are dealing with. But the truth is, in Black and brown communities, we are inherently dealing with generational silence and mental around mental health. And that means that phrases like, uh, you are too blessed to be stressed, you got to pray it away, you are a strong Black this or Black woman, Black man, just insert, your identity. And what that means is it leaves us feeling like we can't seek support and help without there being some stigma and or something wrong with us. But the truth is that added systemic racism, financial barriers, and lack of cultural competent providers also play a part in why we are stuck in this kind of like, I want to get help, but uncertain as to how to get help. That means that we are sometimes set up in our environments to not know what to do. But here's the truth. Healing is possible for all of us. It's possible for you. It's possible for me. And it starts with awareness. And because this is Mental Health Awareness Month, mental health is just as important as your physical health. You cannot, and I stress this, you can't just ignore a broken leg. You you can't just ignore a broken hand and think that somehow you're going to be able to function in your normal way. Well, the same can be true for things like anxiety, burnout, trauma, depression. When you have these items that you might be dealing with, or this mental health areas that might need more support, what happens is when you ignore them, they only worsen. And no, you don't get to have a life that is full of thriving and healthy and loving and nurturing environment. You're just surviving. And that becomes where the mental health stigma impacts our well-being as a community. So this month, I want us to ask ourselves some questions. And this is really just about doing an emotional well-being check-in for this month to get started with this habit that we want to keep with. We want to say, how do I really feel? Am I numb or am I avoiding something that's painful or that I should be dealing with? What supports do I need right now? Awareness is the first a step. Excuse me. Awareness is the first step towards anything that you want to do around healing and dealing with your own well-being. So again, ask yourself these questions. How do I really feel? Am I numb or avoiding some sort of pain that I should be dealing with? What supports do I need right now? And so, if we answer those questions, those three questions, very much around being honest and transparent and vulnerable, even with just ourselves, we're allowed to have all of the feelings. We're allowed to know that sometimes we've dealt with feelings by avoiding and or numbing ourselves so that the pain just doesn't feel like we have to deal with it. But the truth is, when we look at that final question, what supports do I need right now? That's about building the community around you so that you can have your healthiest self. When we think about our well-being, and our mental health well-being is just as important as our physical health. It's being able to understand what we need to do for ourselves, but also the community that we need around us to support us. So things like asking for help, like a therapist, going to your primary doctor to make sure that there's nothing wrong with you physically, as well as that's impacting your emotional health. All of those things can be a question that supports your environment so that it can grow to be able to help you to have a healthy and improved well-being for mental health. I hope that you've enjoyed this show. This is just the foundation for this beginning, which is just for us to know that mental health is really about taking care of our mental and emotional well-being in a way that improves our life and takes us past surviving towards thriving. And that's really what I want us to kind of think about as we're working up these next 4 weeks. Next week, we're going to explore emotional wellness tools to help you manage life without having to feel like you need to erase the pain or get rid of the pain in a way that is like it's not real or it's not there. Let's talk about how we can manage some of the things that we're dealing with much more ease and grace and self-compassion. Until then, I hope everyone takes good care of themselves. Be gentle, and caring for yourselves requires self-compassion. You're allowed to take up space and ask for help. If you haven't already, like and subscribe to our channel, and I will see you on the other side. Y'all be well.